Hey guys, it's Robbie. I'm back with another video for U.R.N.A. Real briefly, I wanted to make sure that I came on here to let you guys know the intention for this channel. This channel is for one, it is for the edification of God, but it's also to bring awareness to different things that we oftentimes don't talk about. You are not alone can go in a wide range of things, especially just topics that people feel either afraid to talk about, or they're like, I mean, they don't think that other people are going through it, and that's just the whole point. A lot of us go through things and we just don't talk about those things. We don't bring those things up. If we conquer that, we go through it, we get through it, okay? We do. That's a victory. We go about our business, but people need to know, and it's through our testimony that we are able to reach other people. We are able to just create a platform for people to feel comfortable to talk about these things. And it is through our toughest trials and our weaknesses that we are able to create a very strong testimony and ministry. So that's what this channel is about. But I came on here today because something that has really been on me is really about communicating with our youth and allowing them to know the things that we have faced and we have gone through. Of course, like when you go to a church and they have the youth ministry, they make it so cute and so sweet and so innocent, and they make it for, it's like you see the adults in it. There was something called youth. Was it Young Life? Young Life in high school, and we see the adults, and a lot. But it was a lot of stuff going on in that program that really made me wonder, where was the adult supervision that was happening on those trips and during those meetings? Because hello. So it's about having a standard, okay? We have to have a standard, and then I'm not saying that they didn't have a standard, they weren't teaching it, but I just say that to say that we can have youth ministry and we can have these things, but these kids have to face real life, okay? They're growing up, and they're being introduced to stuff every single day, okay? And the enemy is definitely going to make sure they do it, whether it's influenced through the music, whether it's for TV, on music videos, even on their tablets. And you can try to create these little barriers and these parental control methods, or however that you try to come up with for your kid, but somehow, some way, that devil is going to creep in, okay? And it's important that we are able to talk to them about certain things. And I know they're going to be uncomfortable topics, but we have to be the ones to talk to them about it, because if you don't talk to them about it, the world's going to teach them about it. And I know I hear that a lot, but I'd rather them hear it from me than hear it from the outside world, because baby, listen, if they haven't heard it yet and they'll stay sweet and they may be innocent, it's coming, okay? It's gonna come. And as much as you can try to shelter your kid and try to keep them away from other outside people, it's coming. It's in your own household, okay? It's happening right underneath your nose, in the other room, arm length away, okay? Because the enemy is trying things left and right to try to influence your kid. And a lot, I mean, it's not even just about the sex, it's just through just the sin nature of of this world, and how the cursing, okay? Your kid be cussing. And even just going back into sex, like, I think I was like in pre-K, and there was a little boy that was imitating sex movements and different things like that on a chair. I mean, and I was in pre-K, and I didn't know, but I did know because of the things that I watched on TV, like watching, even watching certain things, like especially nowadays, they're going to throw in the homosexual factor, and they're trying to throw that into school, of allowing, I don't even know what to label it, but just allowing that into school to where the teacher can be transgender, so to say. And it's not even just about them being transgender, but they're like trying to enforce the knowledge of that on a child. And if you are doing that so early, imagine that, you're introducing them you're introducing them to a sense of perversion, to the point where they're not even focusing on, girls, or, the girl factor and the boy or whatever, like you're introducing them to that in their mind, and possibly confusing them if they don't understand that, of, just difference between a boy and a girl. Kids are kids. Like, I'm playing with Cindy, okay, and a little boy playing with another little girl, however, and they're not even thinking about liking each other. And if they do, it was the little things back then where it was like, oh, he hitting on you because he like you type thing. You know what I mean? Like, but you're not thinking about that. Like, ew, boys. Like, it's not even sweet and innocent anymore, okay? Like, they're trying to enforce this stuff and push this stuff on kids. And some stuff is like that is way too early. So honestly, nowadays, like, what you may think is just, it's too early to talk to them about that. I don't feel comfortable. Like, they're not gonna know. Baby, pray to God and ask how you need to present it to your child, because they might really need to know as soon as possible. Kids are being introduced to sex and pornography and things like that every single day, and it's being done in a way, subliminally, and it's like I said, it's happening right in your household. It's happening right underneath your nose, and you have to be careful of the whole factor. Like I said, trying to, for one, my parents would, try to block out other people, like block out, I don't know, friends or whatever. Like, oh, I don't know their parents and I don't know this, but this stuff happening in your house. This stuff is happening in your house. It's not coming, you thinking it's coming from all these outside influences, but it's happening because of stuff that we're allowing in the house, okay? And even if you are allowing, other cousins and stuff like that, they are carrying other spirits too. And if you're trying to live right, or you trying to keep your kid from certain things, and you thinking, oh, well, it's sweet or it's cool to let, they cousin or whoever come over and, play with them and da-da-da-da, like, sweetheart, they may be introducing them to other stuff way that you wouldn't even imagine. Okay, like I said, they cussing, they using foul language, they talking about you. Did you know, kids, they gonna talk about us and say what we not doing, how we get on their nerves and all that. They doing all of that, okay? And it's just important for us to be able to just have those open conversations, okay? Let them know. Let them know the difference between right and wrong. Let them know that the consequences behind stuff. Because yes, all the stuff that they see in the world, that stuff, it looks really enticing. It looks real fun. Sinning and doing all the stuff that you was doing in the world before you got saved was fun. Okay, it was fun. And you just have to be real with them and let them know that. You have to let them know that, but also know that sweetheart, it may look fun and it may look cool, but it's eventually going to lead you down a road of destruction, okay? And know that it's a domino effect, because yeah, it's cool, it may seem fine to go out and have sex, but let them know the consequences of, yeah, you can definitely get a disease, you can definitely have a kid, and that's gonna definitely change your world around. And if you're not ready for that, it'll really shake your world up. Whatever dreams, whatever goals and things that you thought you were going to accomplish, they definitely can be and will be altered. Okay? It's just having those real conversations, and letting people know what you have gone through, letting your kids know what you have gone through, and being open and honest about it. And I'm not trying to steer away from the whole factor of, things that are going on in your house, but you do have to let them know from your own personal experiences. And this is what I'm saying, letting them know and bringing the real world to their knowledge and their understanding as a kid, to prepare them for the real world. Because a lot of the times when they are introduced to things, they fabricate and they make up these these illusions in their own head, and once they get out in the real world, they're trying to act those things out, right? It's a fantasy, and a lot of the times they're in this fantasy world, and so when reality hits, it shakes them up. And sometimes it'll work out for the good, but sometimes it can be so. For me, I was so strong minded to the factor, like, my fantasy world, I was trying to push this fantasy of what I imagined my life to be like out into reality, and it wasn't happening, and I was making myself depressed. And this happens a lot, and a lot of kids go through a lot of things as well. Even for I remember my dad was like, what do you have to be depressed about? What do you have to be depressed about? Sometimes, yes, kids are just ungrateful. That's just point blank. They don't know if they're spoiled. They don't know how good they got it. But on the other end of things, some kids, they go through things. You know what I mean? Could be because of their environment. Whatever they could, if they're not able to, if they don't feel liberated enough to talk about certain things and they hold it in, they get depressed. Just going through stuff, being around other people that, and they can be, and it can be you, and it can be in your household, of other people who are toxic, who bring upon this where they're uncomfortable, and they feel stuck or they feel trapped, and just not being able to talk about it or not feeling like they can't be themselves can bring upon that depression. And you have to be available enough to be able to talk about it, because like I said, you can be so caught up in being a parent, trying to keep them away from things, that you don't realize that this stuff is happening, and you don't realize that this stuff is spiraling. You know what I mean? So it's important to make sure that you are open enough to have those conversations. I tried to have a conversation with my mom at a young age, and I didn't realize what I was saying, and I think I made her uncomfortable. But it's just the whole factor that you have to have those conversations. You can't be afraid to have those conversations, because like I said, I mean, once you tell them and you let them know, you open up that gateway where they can have and open, be open with you. But of course, they still need to respect you, but still be able to come to you and talk to you about these things, because that's what you want, right? You say, yeah, I want you to be able to come talk to me when you feel like you're ready to have sex. I want you to be able to come talk to me, when you feel like you're ready to talk about, adult things. Like, no, you're not. You're not open for that. You're not ready for that. So that's why it's important you started. You know what I mean? You open that up to where they can talk to you. But like I said, it's happening so young now, to where they are being introduced to these things in very, very young. Very young. Okay. I'm telling you that you take them to your friend birthday party, they around them, and they listening to Little Nas X, and they listening to I don't know, just a bunch of grown content and a bunch of stuff. Baby, they listening to all that. Your kid is being introduced to it. That's how that's happening. They don't, where they get that from? We don't do that out here. But yeah, but you take them to their daddy's house, or you take them to your friend's house, or to your cousin's house, or whoever you may be taking them around, and you may not be taking them around nobody's house. They're in your own house, but if you're not careful and you're not paying attention to the things that they are being introduced to, you need to, first of all, you need to sit down and watch TV and watch these things too. Okay? Don't let nobody tell you that, oh, your kid should be able to have a cell phone and have privacy, and you shouldn't do that. No, you should. You should. You should know what's going on with your kid. That's why there's kids that are killing themselves, and people are sitting around not knowing why, because you're not in their business. You feel like they need to have business. They need to have a level of, not so young. No, they don't. They do not. Mm-mm. It's time that we definitely bring awareness to those things. I mean, just because they in your house, and you feel that they are sheltered, and you may feel like you're doing a great job. You may feel like you're keeping them away from danger and trouble, but that stuff is happening. A lot of things are happening behind closed doors, and those are things that we are not talking about, and those are things that whatever is happening in your household and whatever you are teaching your kid, they're going to grow up And that's the type of adult that they're going to be out in the world. So you can try to keep them away from certain things. Some people may try to keep their kids so close, and they get in the real world, and the real world it definitely tears them up. And then you have the other hand where, they're just so, I don't know, they're in a house and they are sheltered, and they have this, then they end up having this fantasy, you know what I mean, like me, for instance, and trying to actually make that happen out in the real world. And I mean, either way, you have to prepare your kids for the real world. That's where I'm going with this. Have open conversations. Make sure that your kid can feel like they can come and talk to you, but definitely have those conversations. Okay? Because like I said, the perversion and all that stuff, they are trying to push that on these kids, and they don't have anything to fight that with, especially if you are if you are caught in it. How can you help them? You know what I mean? They're only going to go so far because, well, I'm caught up in this, I'm caught up in the world, and I don't know how to teach you how not to be caught up in the world. I'm still doing all these worldly things. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they have to have a chance, and these things are very important. We need to make sure that we talk to our kids, we let them know about the real world, instead of pushing them into it and, expecting them to be prepared just because they're 18 years old and being like, yeah, you 18, yeah, get out there, go to college. Baby, that's why they be wild. They be wild out there. And guess what? A lot of them waste your money. They come right back home, don't do nothing that they thought they was going to do. You may think, oh, yes, have goals. And, and that was the thing in school. They would tell me all the time, like, well, you need to know what you need. You need to know what your career is going to be. You need to know what it is that you want to do. And, a lot of kids think, too, that they have to please their parents. And so, for instance, I had a really great made up story. Okay, I had no intention of doing this. But I had my made up story of, yeah, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to major in this and I'm going to minor in this and I'm going to go to school for that and I'm going to make this amount of money. And of course, they want to hear that. Yes, you have goals. Yes. It's good to have them, but definitely make sure that it's something that you want to do. Because then, and at that point, of course, God can make it work out for your good where you have all these degrees, but if that's something that you don't even have a passion for, that you're not even anointed to do, in a sense, you really did. You just wasted your time. You did. Because you're listening to that. Like I said, bro, like the world has their principles. They have their way of doing stuff. And if you're not raising your kid to follow after the will of God and do what they're called to do. And, really, because when you do something that you really want to do, you have passion when you do it. You know what I'm saying? And you're able to really do it. Like those people who are truly called to be doctors and lawyers and all of that, they're great at their job because that's what they really want to do. Then you have those people who suck at those things that, when you go to the hospital and you up there with them nurses and they just got that degree because it makes great money, but they really suck and they have horrible service and make you feel uncomfortable. Because some of them not supposed to be doing that. You know what I mean? And that's it all stems from childhood, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. If you went through that, why do you not think it's important to talk to your kid about that? If you went through being raped and molestation and those type of things, those things are hard. And if you're not trying to seek help so that you can be able to talk to your kids or to your family about these things, to bring awareness to it so you can stop the generational curses, because those things happen to you and then you wonder why your kid is going through those things. You went through them, why they can't go through it? You get upset with your kid because they going through something that you had went through. That's stupid. You went through the same thing. Did you forget? Oh, you're trying to forget. Once again, you're lying to yourself. Like, seriously, we have to get it together. When we get it together, we'll pass on getting it together to our kids. So then they will be able to get it together. They'll have a chance to get it together because they actually have a visual example of it. But a lot of the times they have to go outside of their family. They have to go outside of what they've been so familiar with because you don't have it together. So they have to go to somebody else to get it together. Seriously. At this point, get it together so that you can be able to have these open conversations and you can be able to help your kid. Because again, if you don't want them to go down the things that you have gone through, I don't feel it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for me to talk to my kid about that because, unless they go through it, then I feel like I can talk to them about it. But, you can't tell me how to raise my kid. Of course, there's somebody who's going to think that. But at the end of the day, this is what's important. It's important. It's important. It's important. It's important for us to be able to talk to our kids. It's important for them to be able to talk to us. It may not even be your kid, but they need to have that safe place, that safe space, and be able to be open so they can talk about it. But hey, again, guys, make sure that you guys like, subscribe onto this channel, hit the notification bell. If it's something else you want me to talk about, I will definitely talk about it clearly. This is something I can go on and on and on about. At the end of the day, I really can, but it's about bringing awareness to this, and I hope that I brought some type of light to that and awareness to you guys. I was a kid. I'm a fresh parent, but I was a kid, so I know a little something. You know what I mean? So anyways, guys, I hope you have a blessed day. Share this with somebody else. Open this conversation with somebody else. Keep it going. If it's meant for you to make a YouTube channel and for you to talk about this, then I suggest you do it. Go for it. Go for it. And do not fear. Know that you're not alone. Okay?